Hello, welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. Assemblyman Matthew Harper has introduced a number of bills, some of them having to do with moving things along on the freeway, others having to do with students in our universities, and he's here now to tell us all about those. Welcome.
Happy to be here.
So some of the bills have to do with making freeway driving safer. Tell us about those.
Not only safer, but actually more expedient as well, to improve the traffic flow. One of those bills makes it so that a lot of us know, but not everyone, is that, especially when you're on one of those long haul freeways where the traffic is flowing, if you're being passed, you want to make sure to move over to the right. And so one of my bills will actually make that a part of the education requirements in terms of learning for your driver's license, to make sure that all drivers are aware of being able to help the traffic flow. If you've ever been on the 5 or the 99 or the 15, you've been able to see that, and some people need a little bit of help with the education.
What if you're already going 80? And there's somebody behind you going 95, and you still
nevertheless, you should always improve, because it's always much safer to be passed on the left-hand side rather than the right-hand side because of where your blind spot is. And so to be able to pull over the right when someone's coming up behind you is always the safest thing to be able to do.
So you want people to know about it, they know more about it. Now it's going to be on the test, hopefully, if you have your way.
Yes.
Tell us also about the HOV lanes, what you think should happen there.
And so that's a thing in terms of the difference of approach between HOV lanes here in Southern California versus Northern California. Most of us have driven up in Northern California and have seen the difference in terms of how they have their HOV lanes. Not only is there continuous access to the HOV lanes rather than the double lines, but also you have the situation where it's only for peak hours. And so when you're not at those peak hours, I want to improve the efficiency and allow all of them to be general purpose lanes during off-peak hours.
Okay, we'll see how this moves along. You would also like to raise awareness of mental health issues through license plates.
Yes, in terms of making sure that we address some of the most vulnerable in our society. I'm looking to introducing a bill in terms of having license plates for mental illness.
Okay. A number of the bills that you're working on have to do with students in our universities.
Yes.
Or even in our high schools. One of the most interesting is to make sure kids don't bully on the internet by posting video of fights that might happen on campus.
I was only in high school just over 2 decades ago, but it's a sea change of what kids are being able to deal with right now, teenagers as well as those who are younger with them. And so the videotaping that goes along with sometimes when there's a fight and the bullying that occurs utilizing that videotape, I want to allow staff and the administration to be able to expel or suspend students on the basis of utilizing that against our most vulnerable kids.
You would also like to give university students a greater say on whether they're charged more in some of those fees.
Yes, I call it the Proposition 13 for college students. And so when fees get asked to be imposed on students, typically there's an election, it's a majority vote. Well, I feel that students should be able to get the same 2/3 threshold that the rest of us do, whether it's for property taxes or other kinds of taxes, like Measure M here in Orange County. And so I'd like to see that 2/3 threshold.
And another bit of legislation you're working on would have to do for all of us when we register to vote. And when we get our driver's license in terms of registering to vote. Tell us about that.
Correct. And so now there's a new motor voter that's specifically for California, but I want to make sure that we increase the transparency and we make sure that those are only going to U.S. citizens.
And are you going to make it so you have to opt out of voting instead of opting in for voting?
That kind of a change is what I'm looking to be able to do.
And this is something that we're seeing in a couple of other states, most recently Oregon. Assemblyman Matthew Harper, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Appreciate it. Glad you could join us too. I'm Leslie Leyton.